Hey guys, so today's video is extremely exciting. It is a review and demo of the Jaclyn Hill Morphe palette. I bought this on the night that they were released here in Australia. It was released at 1 AM in the morning, so I actually stayed up until 1 AM to make sure that I could get the palette. My overall experience on the website itself was pretty easy to navigate. Checkout took a little bit longer than expected, but I guess that was just because of the amount of traffic that was actually on the website. I think there was a crazy number, like 200,000 people on the website at once. So considering that amount of traffic, the website did actually work very, very well for me. And yeah, I managed to get 3 of the palettes. One is for a giveaway, one is for myself, and one is for my friend Brie. And I think there was a limit of 3 palettes per order, so that worked out perfectly. I also wanted to mention that shipping was super, super fast. I think I received my shipping confirmation like 2 days after I ordered the palette, and then it took about 4 business days to arrive to me here in Australia. So, I mean, that is pretty damn good considering the amount of orders that they would have been trying to push out in that time frame. Shipping was a little bit expensive. I think it worked out to be $27 US, which here in Australia is about like $30-ish for shipping. That is a lot for shipping, but in saying that, they were shipped very quickly, like I said, and they were packaged very, very well. So, I mean, that's what you also pay for in that shipping price as well. This is the palette here. Straight up, I will say, why white on a makeup palette? Because I don't know if you guys can see already, but it is already dirty. I don't know. I just think that white is not a good color for a makeup or eyeshadow palette because it's going to show up everything, and it already has for me. So it is very Jaclyn Hill. I do actually love the design. It is very pretty, it looks amazing, but I just don't think white is that smart of a color to use because this is going to get so dirty, and it's like a cardboardy kind of material, so it's not as if you can just like wipe it clean. Once the color is on there, it's kind of on there forever. This is the palette here. So on the top here it says, "This palette is dedicated to all of my loving subscribers, XO Jaclyn." That's a cute little message. I really like that. It adds a bit of a personal touch. And then this here is the palette. I am just in love with it. I love the colors that she's chosen for the palette. I think there's just a really good mixture of like pops of color down here. You've got some of the blues and like the darker blue and purple. You've got some really nice copper burgundy colors around here, and then some nice warm transition shades, some highlight colors, and yeah, of course, in every palette there has to be a black, so I'm so glad that she has actually put a black in this palette. So yeah, that is the palette there. I filmed this eyeshadow look using the Morphe palette, so if you'd like to see how I achieved this look and kind of my first impression review of the eyeshadows, then definitely keep watching. I'm also going to be doing some swatches of the whole palette straight after that eyeshadow look. So yeah, if you are keen to see all of that, then definitely keep watching. So the lighting that I'm using today is mostly natural lighting, and I've just got 2 really soft umbrella lights beside me. So I'm hoping that the colors of these eyeshadows are going to be as true as possible, but fingers crossed. It's always a little bit strange doing it on camera because colors don't show up as well as they do in person, or vice versa. So hopefully this lighting is actually good and works in the palette's favor. I really have no idea what look I'm going to do today. I'm just going to kind of wing it and use some of the shades in the palette that stand out to me the most. First off the bat, I am going to say it's a little bit disappointing that the names of the eyeshadows aren't on the actual palette themselves. I feel like considering Jaclyn went to all the effort to name each and every single eyeshadow, it would have been nice to have them listed on the palette. I mean, it's not a make or break, it's not a big deal, but yeah, it would have been nice to have. So I'm going to go in first with this color here. This is Creamsicle, and I'm going to use that on my Sigma E40 tapered blending brush, and I'm going to pop that in the crease as a transition shade. Wow. For the first swipe of the brush, the pigment has actually picked up really well. It's really easy to blend. I'm just going to keep building it up because I want to really have that color deep there in the crease. But that color payoff is actually really nice. I've only dipped my brush in the pan twice, and considering that color payoff is really good. So far there's no fallout either, which is good. I know that it is a lighter color, so lighter colors do tend to blend a lot easier than darker colors, but just, I don't know, considering how quickly that blended out in comparison to like other eyeshadows that I've used, I'm really impressed with that. Alright, next up I'm going to take the shade Hunts, which is this warm red color here, and I'm going to take that on my Sigma E25 blending brush and again just blend that through the crease. I'm not going to bring this one up as high as I did with Creamsicle. Wow, can you guys see how just like how pigmented? That was the lightest swish of my brush. And then I'm just going to go back in with my Sigma E40 brush and blend Creamsicle and Hunts together. These shadows are super blendable. Super blendable. And the thing that I'm finding is that I'm not sitting here for ages trying to blend it out. Like, it's actually blending quite quick, which is really nice. And even when I am blending, I'm not losing a lot of the color, which with some eyeshadows I do find the more you blend, the less color payoff you get out of the eyeshadow. Whereas this here, I don't feel like I've lost anywhere near as much color as I usually do, which is nice because it means that you don't have to keep going back in and building them up. Okay, so next up I'm going to go in with the shade Jax, which is this matte burgundy shade here. I'm going to place that on my inner and outer corner and try and do a little bit of a halo effect. And I'm just taking it on my Sigma Pencil E30 brush. Okay, this shade is super buttery and very pigmented. Rather than swiping this shade on, I'm actually just patting it, and yeah, again, there is no fallout. I'm just going to go in now and see how this color blends. I'm going to take the Sigma E25 blending brush and just blend that shade in with the transition colors and see how it goes. Wow. Guys, I am so impressed with how well these shadows blend. Like, I know I've said that for the last two eyeshadows, but honestly, this is insane. Like, I guess I just wasn't expecting them to blend so easily and so quickly as well. Like, I'm barely having to put in any effort to blend them. They're just so seamless and easy to work with. Okay, hold up. I have just got a little bit of fallout from that shade. I don't know whether it was because I picked up a little bit too much on my brush, but there is definitely a little bit of fallout on this eye at the moment. Still considering it's really not that bad, but because this is a review, I didn't want to skip that out. It's all just come off really easily though. It hasn't left any marks whatsoever. My thoughts are still the same. I'm still absolutely loving those eyeshadows. They have just blended out so well. And the color payoff, I can't get over the color payoff. So now I'm going to try out one of the shimmery colors and see what the color payoff for them is like. Matte eyeshadows as opposed to shimmery eyeshadows do usually have a better color payoff, so I'm really keen to see what the shimmers in this palette are like. I think I'm going to go in with this shade here, which is Firework, and I'm going to place that on my lid. So I'm going to go in with a brush to start off with and see what the color payoff is like with a brush, and then if not, I will use my finger. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so I'm going to take my Sigma E59 wide shader brush and pick up some of Firework. Color payoff, not great. Alright, I bought that. Color has not picked up very well on the brush at all, and there is quite a bit of fallout. I'm going to go in with my finger now and see what the color is like when applied with my finger. Alright, so this eyeshadow is definitely better applied with the finger. It is a very buttery eyeshadow, so maybe that's why it's just not picking up on the brush as well. But considering how buttery it is, there is quite a bit of fallout with this color, which is strange. But yeah, definitely easier applied with your finger. Actually, do you know what? I take that back. I wouldn't say that it's better applied with my finger at all, because I'm still finding that I'm having to go in and build up the product. I think it was just that I'd already had a bit of product from the brush on my lid already. But yeah, it just does not seem to be sticking to my lid. And again, the fallout is crazy. I need to figure something else out because this just is not working for me. Let's try a short shader brush. This is a much denser brush, so it might apply and pick up the shadow a little bit differently. I still don't feel like it's applying the shadow the way it should be. This eyeshadow swatches beautifully, absolutely beautifully, but once it's on the lid, it's just like it loses a lot of the pigment and there's an insane amount of fallout. So I'm just trying to pat this on rather than swipe it. I feel like patting it definitely has a better result. Alright, so obviously there is a big difference between the mattes and the shimmer colors. I mean, I think shimmers are really difficult to design because obviously they're a bit more grainy because of the shimmer, so that's probably why there is a little bit more fallout. But I was just hoping for the color to like pay off a lot better on the lid, considering how nicely it's swatched. So yeah, that's a little bit disappointing, but that's only one of the shimmers in the palette. Maybe the other ones are a lot better. I'm going to keep going with my eyes and finish them off. I'm just going to go in with the shade Jax again and deepen up my inner and outer corners a little bit, just because some of Firework has covered it up ever so slightly. Alright, so for my inner corner and brow highlight, I'm going to take this shade here, which is Beam. Oh, that's pretty. Alright, so I'm going to quickly go in and smoke out my lower lash line. I'm going to do this off camera because it's not really about the makeup look itself, it's more about reviewing the palette. And I'm just going to be using the exact same colours that I used on my lid anyway. So I'm going to quickly jump off camera, finish off my lower lash line and the rest of my eye makeup, and then I'll be back to give you my final thoughts. Okay, so makeup is complete. I'm actually really stoked with how this turned out. Like, really happy. I smoked out the colors on the lower lash line as well, and I just think they look really nice. My overall opinion of this palette is that it is still a very good palette. That shimmer that I tried to use on my lid was a little bit of a fail, but I'm going to do some swatches now for you guys so that you can see how the other colors swatch. Okay, so from left to right we have Enlight, and then Beam, Silk Cream, MFEO, Faint, Sissy, and Little Lady. So the last three here are shimmer colors. These two are mattes. This one is also a matte. This color here is Beam. This is the one that I used on my inner and outer corner. I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but it does have a slight sheen to it, which is really pretty. It's nowhere near as grainy as the last three shimmers here, but yeah. This is the first row. This is the second row down. We've got Creamsicle, Butter, Pooter, Pukey, Hunts, Firework, and Queen. Queen and Firework were really beautiful to swatch. They are the two shimmer colors in this row. Like I said earlier in the video, the shimmer colors do swatch really nicely with your finger, and I think that's just because they are quite buttery on the skin. But like you guys saw, Firework was very different when picked up with a brush. The mattes in this row are really nice. Pooter and Pukey are a little bit patchy, but obviously with blending I think that'll be okay. The first two colors here, Creamsicle and Butter, they were really smooth, not patchy at all when I did the swatch, and as you guys would have seen, Creamsicle I used in my transition and that just blended out beautifully. So yeah, this is the second row here. So this is the third row in the palette. This is probably my favorite row in the whole palette. It's just got really beautiful like burgundy, rosy, warm tone colors. I feel like they're just all very wearable colors in this row. So we've got Obsessed, SBN, Hillstar, Roxanne, Jax, Buns, and Cranapple. Cranapple? I don't know, I feel like that's an American word. I'm not too familiar with what that is. But anyways, these first three colors here swatched so nicely. They are super buttery and yeah, they just look like amazing colors. The mattes again didn't swatch as well with my fingers, but when I was using the mattes in the palette, they did blend really well with the brush and the color payoff was really good, so I'm not too concerned about the finger swatches. And as you guys know, I did use Jac's in my makeup look and it was just beautiful. So yeah, this is the third row of the palette. This here is the fourth row of the palette. We've got Royalty, Twerk, Hustle, Meeks, 24/7, Chip, and Mocha. These all swatched really well actually. I don't really know what else to say about this row. This is the row that you start getting into the pops of color with this beautiful purple and blue. The purple is, I'd say, a lot more shimmery than the blue. In the pans, they both look on par in terms of how shimmery they are, but when I swatched the blue, the shimmer definitely doesn't show up as much. But yeah, I really love the look of this bronzy shade here. This is Meeks. And then yeah, the mattes on the end swatched really well as well. So yeah, this is the fourth row. And this is the last row of the palette, the fifth row. The colors from left to right are Pool Party, Jada, Diva, Enchanted, Central Park, Soda Pop, and Abyss. The mattes in this row didn't swatch as well as the last row. As you can see here, they do get a bit chalky and patchy, but the shimmer, this shimmer here, which is Pool Party, swatched beautifully, and so did Diva. Both these colors look incredible. So yeah, this is the fifth and final row of the palette. Alright, so that is everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. If you'd like to see me create any other looks using this palette, then let me know in the comment section down below. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.
Some girls feel best in the tiny dresses. Some girls, none of us sweatpants looking like a princess. Some girls kiss no lips every single